Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good evening and welcome to Car Wax. I'm Michael, your Bougie Black Brother, and I'm here with my co-host Sean. What's going on, bro?
Woody, son, Woody.
Yeah, we chilling, and it's time for our review time. We have a couple of releases. I kind of said a little old school, not quite old school, but some people returning back and with some new releases. One of them is Talib Kweli, and the other one is Fabulous and Jadakiss. So, they were waiting for the Jadakiss and Fabulous for a couple of years, but Talib Kweli, he's 8 releases strong, and that's on his single side as opposed to with the Most Def or the, the not Black Thought. What's the one that they have when they do
Black
together?
Star.
Yeah, the Black Star. So, not the Black Star, not the combination with Most, but 8 deep on his side. So, wanted to kind of start off with the Fabulous and Jadakiss. So, when you got to listen to it, Sean, what was your thoughts on that, and what was your background to this lead up?
Well, I definitely wasn't anticipating it. Like I said, like you said earlier, this should have came out a long time ago, and
Yep.
I really wasn't anticipating it. They was pushing it. They was kind of sneak pushing it, and then Angie Martinez kind of got a date out. So like 2 weeks before the album actually came out, you actually got a date. So my background on Jadakiss and Fab, they some legends in New York. Honestly, Jadakiss' first album, she was supposed to be better. Jadakiss' second album came out. It should have came out like right after, but it didn't. There was too much of a gap between his music, so he kind of died out. Fab was kind of the same way. He never really had a album, but he's always got fire singles. Always, you always gonna catch him with some fire singles. Lately, he's been dropping some real decent mixtapes. That's keeping his name relevant and whatnot. So, them two coming together was like, okay, that's what's up. This should be exciting. And it was, when I popped it on, the first track, when they changed the beats up or whatnot, I was like, okay, that's what's up. I like how this is going already. So, they definitely started it off great. For the New York feel, they kept it all the way classic, but they really had some lyrical bars. So it was just really nice to hear Jadakiss, spit the bars. You haven't really heard Jadakiss really consistent other than, these past 2 years. They dropped the Lots tape like last year. That was pretty nice. And then Fab, like I said, has been on mixtapes real recent too. So them coming together, man, was just real refreshing, real good. But I just don't think Fab could keep up, And I don't think that was the intention. I think the intention was just, to hear some fire bars come out of New York City. And it was right on time because of all the collabs that's been dropping. Exactly. So, for me personally, man, this is definitely hands down one of the top best collabs of the year. And most importantly, it was an album and it was a mixtape. So, you can definitely push this as one of the best collabs, man. And I can definitely see them do this again. I won't be mad if they do this again. I can count on it.
Gotcha. So to be real, I just love Jadakiss. So I love his style. I love his voice. He just reminds me of New York. So he didn't try to be anything more than what he is. And he did okay for me. So I was fine with Jada all the way through. The production was kind of whatever. It's a New York production, nothing exciting. There was not one single on there with the beats that kind of made me go, yeah, okay, I like that. It was some that was like, okay, cool. And then let me wait for Jada. Just not, and maybe because of my familiarity with Fab, that I was kind of like, yep, basic nigga right there. But I didn't feel him. I think Jada just he held the album for me. I was just looking for him. Fab came in with a couple of good cuts here and there. I mean, a couple of bars that was decent. But I think Jada did his thing right there, and I really enjoyed it. I need to go back and hear a couple of his mixtapes because I think his style and his voice, it's still current enough. And I think what you were saying about New York trying to push, look, we got to get some releases. The South is really fucking killing us. We need to start pushing a lot more from what we have and what we do. And this was just one of them. Did it do something to say, let me push you to the top like everybody else? I don't think so. Was it a good collab together? Yes, really good and even. But I say as a balance, nah, I think Fab has some struggle bars, a couple, and Jada just held the whole album for me. You mean? So that was my take on that, though.
Well, for the outlook on the collab albums, if we're looking at all the collab albums, there's a strong and there's a weak. You know, if we look at all of them, all of the current ones, there's always a strong and there's always a weak.
Right.
You know, Fab just happened to be the weak one on this album. You know,
yeah, true.
You know, Future was the weak one on Super Slimy.
I'm glad you said that because you're right. Yeah.
You know, so it was more of a setup for Jadakiss because you know it was just good to hear Jada just compete. You know what I'm saying? He was really out there. Like it wasn't like him doing it with the Locks. You know, and Fab. I think Fab knew that he couldn't compete. You know what I'm saying? So he had to kind of like play it he had to just be Fab. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't go against the bars that Jada was kind of giving. He kind of just had to be Fab. And he did that. I think he did a good Fab. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I mean, if you know Fab, you know that, Fab has slick bars. They're not clever.
Right.
They're real slick. Oh, that was a good slick one. Okay, that was kind of clever. Okay, but that was slick. You know what I'm saying? Like so, for me, it again, the Without Warning, I really like Offset on there, but you got to be a fan of 21 Savage to like that mixtape. You're not a fan of 21 Savage, you're gonna be like, what the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? So, there was strong and weak. So
what do you think about the actual extras that was on there? The special guests that's thrown in, the Future, the Swiss Beats, the Styles P. You had Yo Gotti on there, Future again. What do you think about those special appearances that was on there? Did it take away? Was it not necessary? Or damn, they came fire.
Well, the Future one definitely wasn't necessary. The remix of the Future one definitely wasn't necessary. Yep. But I see what they were doing. There's a sound that's in New York that you got to be there to get. Mm-hmm. There's a feel with this music, and I truly feel like Friday on Elm Street gave you that feel. Even with the beats, the beats weren't old. They were current New York beats.
Yeah, current New York beats.
Yeah. It wasn't like, what the fuck are they rapping on? Come on, man. They wasn't old samples. And I'm gonna speak on that a little bit later, but I appreciated it for what it was. We are so accustomed to this Atlanta sound that you have to drown that out. I had an issue listening to anything after the Sire album. You know what I'm saying? Because it just didn't sound the same.
Okay.
And then I figured it out, and I'll get to that later. But I once I figured it out, I put this Friday on Elm Street back on, and I was just like, okay, they did their job. You know what I'm saying? They accomplished their goal. This Friday on Elm Street could be a part 2. If the album sells enough like it should have, which I assumed it did, you know what I'm saying? I think it sold pretty well.
But based on the reviews, it was kind of like people were waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when it came out with the monsters that came out this year in rap, they kind of late in the mix.
Late. There you go. Yeah.
They were late. It wasn't bad, but they were late. I think if they would have came out earlier in the year, you would have been like, whoa, there you go. Let's see who's going to come out next. But, man, there was just so much quality shit this year. And we're in December, and this just seems pretty weak. I got you, though. I got you. If I would have heard this flat out earlier without hearing the quality, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But this is just more disappointing as an overall package. But I was glad once again to hear Jada. You know, I didn't like the Swiss beats, and I think that's where you was kind of alluding to, because I'm hearing so much different type of quality production out there. He's just typical now. Swiss used to be the man, and so I was like, oh, I gotta hear these tracks, and I was kind of like, what? And then I was like, but that's who he is. He's not really trying to stretch himself. He didn't do much to make him, hey, look, Swiss got a good sound. He used his old way of doing things, but in a new way. He was okay. He was like, I get paid for what I'm doing, and I'm just going to give you that. So that was kind of disappointing. Styles P was good on it. I like that.
Yeah, Styles P was great.
Yeah. So I was glad to hear him too.
Yeah, I think Swiss still loves the music. The songs weren't bad. When I listened to it again, I was just like, okay, I get where you were going, but it was he's missing what's kind of going on right now, as far as like hip hop beats.
Yep.
You know, I think he's trying to create his own little sound, which is cool because he's always done that. You know, that's always been Swiss Beats. He's always had his own little sound, and people usually just use his samples and then make their own. So,
just use his shit, basically.
Yeah. So, understanding who these rappers are, you know, they old school rappers. The wintertime is when you're supposed to drop your. Wintertime is when all the hard rappers drop they joints. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to drop their stuff outside of the summertime and the wintertime. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, their hustle is still kind of stuck in the old school. I do agree with you when you said, yeah, if this would have came out like in May, or if this would have came out in like April, this would have definitely been like a good April album. You know, like,
I agree.
Ooh, this is nice. You know, and you could have rolled it the whole summer. You know what I'm saying? Whereas,
just remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can remember it and say, remember? Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, as far as the whole body of work, now I'm going to go ahead and rate it. You know, I do like the album. I do like what they put together. They're not the best artists in the game right now. True. You know what I'm saying? So that could be another play on why it wasn't so great. But they was bringing them bars. You know, they definitely brought some bars that I enjoyed. But I'm still going to pop into 2 Chainz. So with that being said, I'm going to have to give it definitely gets a 7. But it doesn't get no more than a 7.2.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's because you like it.
Yeah.
The good thing is you like it, and you're going to give them. Yeah. So I think it was a good effort. Again, I'm rating it the way I'm rating it because it was a good effort, and I think I would have enjoyed it a little more earlier. If I'd had it as a standalone now, I would have been highly disappointed and rated it very low. But I liked it, and I gave it a 6.5 because it's they didn't time this correctly. And there's a lot of artists that if you aren't a quality artist or you're not trying to break a mold to do something different, you gotta time your releases very strategically. Right. And they didn't fucking do that, you know. But it was okay. That's why I'm saying not bad. Thank you, Jada. It was great to hear you. Hopefully when your name show up again, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, I definitely just hope he decides he has to drop something in February too. You know,
Yeah,
remember we was talking about who was it Dro?
Future. Nah,
No, it was
remember you
Future.
saying
Yeah,
Future.
yeah. He just needs to
Yeah.
stop making music until February. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
He needs to go ahead
Just
and do
stay
that.
off the charts for a minute
Mm-hmm.
and come out with a good mixtape or another album. So, but wait,
Mm-hmm.
don't keep going out there because your boy Young Thug made you look a little back there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
so, so cool. I mean, I definitely respect yours because you enjoyed it a little bit, and again, you heard the artists for who they were.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Fab, man. I was a big
yeah,
fan of Fab when I was young. So, you know, I grew up on Fab when he was young in the game. So, you know, following him and checking his swag and knowing his lingo, you know what I'm saying? He's the one that kind of made up lituation, the South made up lit, and you know, he kind of turned it into a lituation. So, you got to
absolutely.
know his lingo, you know Fab, and then you like way to appreciate that. So,
Yep, I
that's
agree.
why I liked it. This is probably the same reason why I enjoyed the Without Warning. You know what I'm saying? I like that. I thought
Hmm.
I really liked it. I was like, all right, this is a little gutter little mixtape. Oh, I like this. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
yeah, but no more than the 7-2. Like you said, I think you hit it on the nail. Just bad timing. If this was
Yeah.
any time before summer, he would have really had any time before Rhapsody. You would have had an opportunity.
Right. So, yep, that's that feel with that. But which runs us into Talib Kweli. So the conscious rapper, as he's always been, that's the moniker that they put on him. Um, so I'll start with Talib, and the reason why is because I I followed him because he was always rapping about current things going on. He always kind of used the way he rapped to say, look, y'all need to think outside the box and a lot of these things. Hey, you're not educated enough to understand what our people is going through, what human nature is, how philosophical things are. And he did it in a way to kind of educate. But the problem that he was running into was he started rapping about issues without pretty good production. So it would have probably been easier if he went a cappella just to hear what he had to say. Because a lot of his production through a couple of albums, and I was buying them, and it was only 3 or 4 that I always felt that I can continue to put in my rotation. But the whole album was very disappointing, and you would listen to some of the other ones because of what he was saying. This one, in turn, and I was kind of hearing some reviews because I didn't really want to be real critical of him. I was like, maybe, to your point you said earlier, maybe I'm just used to the rappers now and how they're talking about certain things and how their swag is and different things. But they kind of repeated what I felt was he has good lyrical content, but he's still rapping fast as hell. And you gotta say, wait a minute, what the fuck was that again? And you gotta go back. But when you're going back, the production ain't even good enough for you to hear that. So it's kind of like, never mind. Let me continue on. But I'm very disappointed with him with his production because you would rather ride with something when he's trying to give you some substance. But it's hard to ride with his production. And he didn't do anything really current. He didn't have anything too deep on black violence. He had nothing with too political. He didn't really have a lot of conscious current. He was a little more generalizing. So that was kind of disappointing with
Okay.
me as well.
I actually enjoyed the album. I thought the album was pleasant.
Okay.
For everything that is going on now, it was good to hear something similar to the old Talib. Um, the beats, the beats
Yeah.
were exactly what he was rapping on. You know, he wasn't the only. I like to see so much that the only track I really skipped was the one he had with Waka Flocka.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and then after that, it just continued to run smooth. You know, it was a theme more or less. You know, he stuck to the radio silence. The album was called Radio Silence. So I totally if for me listening to it, knowing that the album is called Radio Silence, he stuck to the script. You know, and the beats weren't supposed to be big beats, weren't supposed to be, you know, extravagant beats. He was kind of just lightweight giving you a story, you know what I'm saying? But nothing like no, I need you to, you know, I think it was perfect because like I said, man, all of this hecticness that's going on in the music with this depression and these pills and all this craziness, he kind of set his tone on it. And it was smooth.
I got you.
You know, and I enjoyed that. And I was like, okay, and it wasn't that long. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate it because it wasn't that long. It was 11 tracks. So I was just like,
just 11.
Yep. I was like, okay, good. You didn't overextend your point. You got straight to the point, and you know, you just gave it out. So it was kind of just like a part of his collection. This was more a part of Talib's Kweli's collection, more than I want you to hear this. This is Flames. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of seen it like another guy. His name is D1. You know, he kind of did the same thing. You know, they're people rap to give messages. You know, and different type of messages. So I think he wasn't. I think he wasn't trying to give the political message this time. He was just kind of trying to do the. It almost reminded me of Train of Thought. You know, not the beat wise, but the feel. You know, and then I was just like, okay, you know, and I respected what he gave, and I appreciated it for what it was.
Okay, yeah. So I hear you. I just maybe that's a problem, but maybe that's a me problem. But to me, you know, when I heard Jadakiss, I was glad to hear him, even though he sounded like he used to. He still had quality bars that said, doesn't matter what you was talking about. I know who you are and I know what you bring. So I'm good. With this, Talib, I expect for you to give me something. And, you know, there's people out here now who's talking about current shit without actually naming names, but they're coming with some consciousness that you can enjoy. But it's like he was being careful. To me, he was being careful, and by being careful, it took away what he was and what he represents and what what he's known for. Yeah, it wasn't a bad album; it was a typical album of his. But to me, I thought he would move up currently and go, now I'm going to give you my perspective of this bullshit going on, whereby you got newer people or people who's been out with a couple of cuts that they don't normally talk about what's going on, but the frustration is, oh, you're going to fucking hear this. I may not do it all throughout my album, but you're going to know this shit. And I appreciate that. And to me, that's a conscious poet who comes across and says, I'm going to tell a story, or I'm going to be lyrically putting in what's going on in this world. And I just think he kind of failed on that. To me, was it a bad album? No, I'm telling you, if you want to put in a Talib Kweli album, yep, you got that. You got exactly that. But in this field, and maybe it's because this is the year that I'm like, wow, this is so many new people is breaking through in hip hop, and some of the people who came back put out some quality shit, and you're going, wow, I fucking enjoyed that. You know, I'm not a crazy fan of 444, but he came back with some shit that you said, yep, gotta listen to that, even with the production being weak. But you had to listen. You had to listen to that. The 2 Chainz, and you know, I wasn't a big follower, but goddamn, this dude showed up, and you was like, this is fucking amazing, you know. And it's still in rotation because it's part of that. It's part of saying, let me let you know what the fuck's going on in my hood and what I'm going through and this and that. But if you gonna talk about conscious things, you know, the one that I love the most, and I just keep playing that, and I'm going to use it as my theme a lot of times, is the last one, is Right at Home. And the one, he has the guy talking philosophical about energy, and I love the production of that. I love the fact that that first guy going, then he raps on the back end, and the production was just so smooth on top of that. If he would have used that concept all throughout, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I just think that was wasted on the end because that gave a great feel of, hey, look, I'm not just talking about this government. I'm talking about energy and how we treating each other and then the things that we go through in our current conditions without naming the current conditions. So I kind of love the fuck out of that.
Okay. Yeah, man. And I just feel like he's been doing that for so long. He kind of was like, "Hey, I'm gonna put something together that I want to put out. You know, that's different. You know what I'm saying?"
Right.
So maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm just a Talib Kweli fan. But I did like it, and I did appreciate him not going at that far on the music. You know, I appreciated him just rapping like he used to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this is cool because.
Right.
You still got it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't lyrical, but it was good to hear him by itself. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I like that. This was smooth. You know what I'm saying? You made me think, but you wasn't political. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that. I appreciate that. So he was rapping fast because that's how he rapped, but he still kind of dumbed down his flow. You know what I'm saying? It was still a dumb down, you know? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I appreciate that because he's such a good artist. Right, this was kind of his dumb down.
Okay. So I have to ask this then. Prior to this, we had the 7 with him and Styles.
Yeah.
Like this one better or the 7?
I would definitely ride this before the 7 again.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely
fucking love this. Dude, the production on the 7 and the fact that even though he didn't put an effort in it, I think his effort there was, I'm rapping with this other guy, so this is my style, and I don't have to talk about current events or anything like that. That's what I expected with the 7. So when you came out with your own shit, I had higher expectations. So it didn't fulfill that, whereby I would put the 7 on based on even the production on there and even the way he kind of rolled with Styles. And I was glad to hear Styles. And Talib was like, look, I'll do some cuts for you. But I was okay with it. I hear you. I see where you're going, but I'm just highly disappointed at this shit. And I think this one isn't going to catch fire anywhere. This will be, he came out with another album.
Part of his collection.
Next week, we have another release by.
It's just part of his collection. I think he wanted it as part of his body of work. Yep. You know, it's not a bad piece of work. You know, there's worse music out here. I definitely popped this on before I popped the Joey Badass song. You know what I'm saying? Even though he's more current, even though he's speaking more current, I like this Talib Kweli album better. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's just me.
So and to me, I haven't put Joey Badass back on. So I really don't know if either one would be better. But I know that I don't need to put Joey back on because I can't think of anything that I need to put it back on for. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're probably absolutely right. But rating. As a quality rapper and supposed to come out with something that says, give him the respect that he's due and thank you for a good release. Nah, bro, you get an even 7.
Yep. I totally 100% agree. Because of your body of work, how long you've been in the game, and the album really wasn't whack.
Yep.
You deserve 7.
So, sadly, a 7 for him is a disappointment.
Yeah.
In my eyes, a 7 for an artist of his quality and what he brings, it's a disappointment. Not sure where he's going to go from here. He may just say, hey, look, I'm just going to show up and do a couple of collabs, and maybe next year I'll come out with something else. But I think he may have came out with this because the way we were talking about Talib being lazy on the 7, he was probably like, "Oh, I need to get something to my true fans." But to me, he still didn't do enough. But yeah, or maybe he said, "I have some leftovers. Let me put it in a damn album and release it," because it may have been that too. But who knows? Yeah, so who knows? But yep, so that was our 2 for today. The Talib Kweli, even 7 on both ends, and the Fabulous and Jadakiss. I'm rolling with a 6.5 and Sean with a 7.2. 7.2. So low rated, but real stating that it's worth a listen. A good download, a buy. I don't think a buy, but a good download. Ride with it, listen to it. You're probably not going to put it on, especially with the amount of releases that's out right now. Because if you haven't heard the other releases, then sorry for you, because these aren't the high quality shit that you should be listening to. But any last thoughts on those, Sean?
Nah. Yeah, they definitely worth a listen. Definitely check out that Jada. Definitely check out that Fab if you ain't check it out. It's part of history, man. Especially all the dual collabs that's out right now. Definitely check it out.
Absolutely. So hit us up, bougieblackbrother.com, Bougie Black Bro on IG and Instagram, Bougie Black Sean on IG, and DJ Activist on Twitter. So check us out. Go to the Bougie Black Brother Network on Facebook and see all of the podcasts that we have, and follow us on there as well. And with that said, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon on Car Wax.
The curse from the radiance of the gift, which becomes shadow, necessary evil, so to speak, or we'd have figured it out by now. Striving for perfection is the result of genius. Find peace, share your genius. See, I can't see my own face without a reflection, whether it be your reaction to my expression,